Hey everyone, it's Gareth Flood here, and today we're going to cover an introduction to market research. So you know market research is very important, you hear lots about it. It's an input into your business plan and your marketing plan and knowing all about your customers. So today I'm going to cover the types of market research, the two main ways of collecting data, obviously then how do you analyze the data, creating a marketing plan, and then wrap it all up into a conclusion. And if you stick around till the end, I'm also going to give you for free an internal market research brief that you can use to get your market research objectives and brief together within your own company, so you're all clear about what you're going to do with market research. And you can also use it with external agencies to brief them if you're going to get them to help you, or a third party to help you either collecting the data or analyzing the data. So stick around till the end to get that. All right, let's get into it. Firstly, an introduction to market research. What is it? It is the process of gathering and analyzing data about a particular market. It's going to be the market that you're interested in, you already compete in, or you want to compete in. Why? It's in order to gain insights about the customers in that market, competitors, and the overall industry that you're going to be working and competing in. So the objective is to get and be informed for your business plan and your marketing plan. Obviously, stating the obvious, it's essential for any company to understand their target market, the competitive landscape that they work in order to create an effective and successful marketing plan. Good inputs equals good outputs. Good inputs into the plan, make a good plan, and then you can execute a good plan. It gives your chances of success being significantly higher. So the point of market research, it helps you understand your target audience, since marketing is all about finding out what your customers want and need, and then filling those needs, making things available to them. You also need to identify your competitors, because pretty much everywhere you will have competition. So you need to know what they're doing and how you're different from them. And because of that, if you know your target customers, you know what your competitors are doing, and then you can create your most effective strategies to reach your customers. And if you reach your customers better with better offers and better products and services than your competitors, you will win and your business will grow. So in this presentation, I'm going to basically cover what is market research and how to use it in your marketing plan. So steps in market research. There's 4 steps you want to follow to get underway with market research. Number 1, as with the starting of any plan or new activity, is define your objectives. So start by defining your research objectives. You know, what are you trying to achieve? Therefore, what questions do you want to answer? What information do you need to make informed decisions for your business and for your plan? By clarifying your objectives, you'll be able to help and design a research plan that's targeted and efficient. Don't just go out and start asking people questions and firing out surveys and questionnaires. Be targeted. What are the questions that you need answered? What are the objectives for your business? And then what questions do you need answers to achieve those objectives for your business? So number 1, define your objectives. Number 2, identify your target audience. Obviously, any population of people, there's lots of different types of people in any market. You break up the customers into different segments, and then you can't serve everybody. So you need to target who are the most likely customers for your product or service. That's trying to find your target audience. And often one of the biggest tasks of market research is to actually help do this. If you're out selling in a market, but you don't really deeply know who your customers are, you haven't got them in archetypes or labeled or written up as avatars, how do you know who you're selling to? So one of the biggest tasks of market research for many companies is keeping track of the groups of customers that you sell to or you could sell to, and how those groups are changing over time with their needs, tastes, demographics, etc. So identifying your target audience is determining the characteristics of the people most likely to purchase your product or service. This helps you to focus your research effort and design surveys or questionnaires that are relevant to your audience. So again, relevance is always key. Don't ask them about something that has nothing to do with their lives. Okay, there's plenty of examples, you can figure that out. Just keep it focused on the target audience and some general questions related to your industry and your current product or service, or products or services you're thinking about bringing to market. This is the second big thing that market research does. It allows you to test the need. If you're thinking of a new product or a new service or a new business, you can get market research, you can do focus groups, you can talk to people to find out, would they actually buy it? Would they be interested in it? Because the worst thing you can do is just invent in your lab or in your office or in your home, I've got a great idea, you get that product, you go out and sell it, nobody wants it. So it's better to say, I've got a great idea, let's do some research, check with potential target customers. They say, yes, I would like to buy it. How much would you be willing to pay? What kind of offer? Where would you like to buy it? How easy do you want to buy it? Etc., etc. And from that, you can know upfront, my new product or service or business has a chance of being successful. Second key thing for market research. So define your objectives, identify your target audience, conduct the research. This is done with what's called primary research or secondary research, and I'll go a bit more into what those two things are in a second. But you get the research, you get the data, and finally you have to analyze it. Data by itself is useless. It's just a bunch of numbers and facts and notations and notes. You need to analyze it and turn it into something useful, output. What does this mean? And that's then what goes into the plan. Okay, so the types of market research. When you get involved with market research, you'll hear the two big terms, which is primary and secondary. So let's talk about what primary research is. Primary research involves gathering data directly from customers and other stakeholders. This could include surveys, interviews, focus groups, and more. So it's called primary because you're collecting data for the first time for this. This data hasn't existed that you specifically want. So it's like new data, new questionnaires. So you could commission an agency, a market research agency, to say, go out and interview 100 people with these 12 questions. So you make up a questionnaire about your business, your product, or your service, and they will go out and interview 100 people, and they will come back. And if it's a 12-point questionnaire, then they have lots of data and say on question 1, 60% said yes, this product could be of interest, 40% said no, all things like this. So you're collecting data for the first time, normally specific to you, specific to your business, product or service, or specific to the questions you answered. But it's new research. So you can do this in lots of ways. Other people can do surveys for you. It could be online surveys. You can send out, do things, a lot of the mailing services. You can get interviews. They can do telephone interviews. They can call people. They can do focus groups. This is when you get people, for about 6 to 12 people in a room who are potential target audience. A guided narrator who's skilled in this takes them through some questions and prompts to say, would this be useful? So it's new data that you then analyze specifically to you. And this is particularly important if you have a new product or a service or a new, relatively new industry or a new concept that there's not too much of it about. The second way is secondary research. So secondary research is getting data from existing research that has already been done, existing data points. So once primary research is done, and maybe it's then released into the market and other people can look at it, that then becomes secondary research. So you can buy reports from other companies, data monitors, you can buy research reports, and this is secondary data. So somebody else has collected the data, analyzed it, turned it into something useful or a report. You then buy the report, or you find it, or somebody gives it to you if you know them, and you use that data into your plan if it's valid. That's secondary research. So you're looking at published reports, industry publications, online databases, that some are free, some can be paid. And this can also be called desk research a lot of the times. People say, do desk research first, The reason it's called desk research, you're sitting at your desk, you're on the internet, you're looking at online databases, maybe government sources, published reports of companies in the industry publications, trying to find as much data as you can. And the good news is there's just so much out there now. I would always recommend doing secondary research first, and you can get probably most of your questions answered. In some cases, you don't even then need to do primary research, or you could answer a lot of your questions already. And the reason is primary research, if you engage an agency to do it, can be very expensive and time consuming and costly. You need to design all the questionnaires, all the surveys, you need to work with them or other people to collate the data, aggregate it, analyze it. Where secondary research, if it fits, has already been done for you. So if you, let's take an example like supermarkets, online grocery purchasing, and there's a ton of data about that. If you're thinking of, I've invented a new sauce in a bottle, I'd like to get it into the supermarkets, let's find data about grocery consumption of sauces below a certain, 50 milliliters. There is a ton of data on that type of topic. Same if you're in the construction industry, you can find a ton of data on construction vehicles, publications, industry sources, before you would need to do primary. So always try and do secondary research first, and in many cases it gives you everything you need. So both types of research can be used to gain valuable insights about what you're trying to find out about, which is customer preferences, market trends, and competitive advantages. And in terms of secondary research, I've done another video, I'll put the link in below, which was all about how do you find these sources of market information. There's a lot of free and accessible, relatively cheap market information where you can get your secondary research done. And I did a whole other video, and I've done a whole module, which you can also find on my website at stepstogrowth.com, about how you can find all this market information in a structured way to get your secondary research done faster. So if that's of interest, check it out. So you have to initiate primary or secondary data. You do the work, you're collecting the data. So once you've identified the type of research you need, could be primary, could be secondary, and it could be a mix of both. You could think they're not mutually exclusive. So you can do primary research and secondary research together as part of your overall market research plan. So you collect all the data you need. There's lots of ways to do it. Again, surveys, interviews, focus groups, there's lots and lots of methods of you to collect data. And even speaking very simply, like getting out and talking to people is another good way to do it. If it's your business and you have customers already, you have a customer database, start calling customers. When you interact with customers, you go and visit them, or they come into your shop or premises, just talk to them. Say, hey, can I just take 5 minutes of your time? Find out about what you like, what you don't like. I've got some questions to ask you. What am I missing? What else would you be looking to buy from me? Would you be interested in bundles? Any types of questions. Just start talking to your customers. And the other useful information sources, if it's your own business, is if you have salespeople, talk to your salespeople, because they talk to customers all the time. So they get a lot of feedback about what's working, what's not working, what else you should be doing. And the other place is your customer service center or customer operations. So when customers are calling in with things about their account, about products, about complaints, this is all good data about what's going well, what's not going well, what could be improved, and what gaps you have. So it's important to check that obviously the data you have is accurate and reliable. And that's why I mentioned earlier, if you deal with an agency or if you just do some research yourself, find a little bit about basic statistics and basic statistical modeling. Specifically, if you have a lot of number crunching data, if you're going to do surveys, you should try to do at least 100 people. N equals 100, because if you have 100, then the data becomes statistically valid. It forms into the pattern of a normal distribution, which therefore, the theory is, which is true, it's just data, if you interview 100 people, you will get, say, answer X. And if you then expand it to do 1,000 people, you will still actually get answer X, because it's that statistic number of 100 is valid all the way up to the entire population of an industry or market or country or whatever. So that's something to check out. And it's not too hard to learn the basics of some great statistical knowledge, which will help you massively in business and your whole life. Honestly, learning a little bit of statistics will serve you well your whole life. It also helps you know when the data is accurate and reliable. Okay, and it's also important to know in collecting, you need to set a time frame. That the data is collected in a timely manner, so it can be used in the marketing plan. So normally you want your marketing plan done by at least kind of Q3, latest Q4 for the current year, to be implemented from 1st of January next year. So you think, well, therefore I need to collect my data maybe in Q1 or the first half of the year. There's no point saying I'm going to create my whole marketing plan in Q4 and I'm going to do all my market research in the last month of Q3. Okay, in August I'm going to collect my data and do my marketing plan like 1 month immediately. It could take you months, depending how much data you're going to collect. This could take you months. So set a time of it has to be done in 1 month or 3 months. That's important to meet the deadlines for your marketing plan. But also you don't want to leave it open-ended. If you're just constantly collecting data and analyzing more data and not stopping and turning it into insights, that's not going to work either. So that's some key points for collecting data. And lastly, you then need to analyze the data. So once you've collected it, you can use statistical models and software. Again, a lot of really user-friendly stuff out there. Things like Power BI, but even Excel. Excel, if you learn a little bit about it, or you hire an Excel consultant or just a Excel whiz, the stuff you can do in Excel is pretty stunning. It can do all of this for you. And what you're trying to do is identify the trends and the patterns. You're trying to get data points around customer needs, preferences, potential opportunities, potential threats. These are the things you're after out of the data. And it's also important to use the data to identify any areas of the marketing plan that need to be adjusted or improved. For example, the data could show you don't actually know enough about the customers. More work needs to be done on customer needs. So there's lots of things the data can show gaps and where you need to be improved, and you put that into the next iteration of doing your market research, market information, and the next version of your business plan and marketing plan. So you need to analyze the data and leave enough time to analyze the data properly and with enough good resources, but you don't have to overdo it. Like I said, if you can get some statistical student who's very good at Excel, they will do it 100 times better than you. And lastly, once the data has been analyzed, we're getting towards the goal. It's time to create the marketing plan. So again, I've done this whole other video about how to write your marketing plan. I'll put the link to that in there. So you get your data, you get your market information, you get the insights, you start writing the plan. So the plan obviously includes your objectives, your strategies, your tactics, and a timeline to implement. And it's important to ensure that the plan is aligned to the company's overall goals and objectives. I've said this before, you need your business plan done first and then your marketing plan, and these two feed each other if you're a marketing-led, customer-led company. So obviously it's also important to ensure the plan is realistic and achievable, and it takes into account any potential risks or challenges that may arise, because things always arise, because that is life. So in conclusion, market research is an essential part of creating a successful marketing plan. It's important to understand the types of research, primary, secondary, how to collect it, and then how to analyze it. And these are skills you learn and that you need to embed in your marketing team and in your business. It's also important to ensure the marketing plan is aligned with the overall company objectives, and it takes into account any potential risks or strategies that even fall outside of marketing, like if there's a big IT deployment or supply chain manufacturing change, you need to factor these things in too. Otherwise, things will not go smoothly. So by following these steps, you can create a successful marketing plan that will help your company reach its goals. So that is the conclusion. So go through it again, figure out what you need your market research for, answer the questions of why you need it, identify your objectives, figure out how to collect the data, how to analyze the data, and then feed it into the marketing plan. Now, I also said I would give you an internal brief for how to do this, and I'll show you this now. So to get the brief, just head over to my free marketing community, which is at school with a K, school.com/steps-2-growth. It takes you, that's here. It takes you here to the Marketing Profit Accelerator, where we learn about marketing-led profit growth. You've got the community where you post. You've got your classroom, where there's a couple of free courses to learn about marketing and the marketing school. But back here in the community, once you log in, you can interact with other people in the communities. And I've put it here, Internal Market Research Brief. You click on this. Here it is. It's a template for your internal market research brief. So this is for you within your company to pull together a brief to engage agencies to do your market research, or for you to get clear and aligned with your own people, but the what, why, where, and how you're going to do market research. So you just click on it, you can just download it immediately. There it is, Internal Market Research Brief. Takes you through what's the background, the market situation, business issues, takes you through what's your objectives, the research objectives, the information needs. It asks you a bunch of free-flowing questions about what you need to fill out in each section, any decisions to be supported, where you're going to do it, the timing of the research, existing research knowledge, your target group, your covers, the research approach, methodology, primary, secondary, surveys, questionnaires, focus groups, and then your communication plan. What are you going to do with the output? Who else needs to be engaged? And if you fill all of this in, you'll be very clear about what is the brief to do market research within your company, and you can use this with third parties very easily to do the market research. You will need to brief them, and you can do it with this template. So just go in there, open it, download it. It's yours for free within the community, and we'll look to interact with you in there. So I hope that was useful. Get your market research, your market information underway as inputs to your great marketing-led profits growth within your business and your marketing plan. So thank you, and we'll see you soon.